Hi everybody. I've had a few requests of how I made this card, so I thought I would do a quick video to show you exactly how I made it. I used the stamp set Tasteful Touches, this flower right here, and then the sprigs also, which I have to pull out. I'll do that now. And as you can see, I did already stamp the flowers, and I stamped those in the basic gray. I did that so this way I can just color them up, show you how I colored them, so we can get the card put together. So to start, I have a basic card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. And then I have a layer, and this is the Magenta Madness. I have another layer that is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then the top layer that we're going to stamp is 5 1/4 by 4. So what I did was I have this makeup brush from Walmart. Whoop, we're a little out of focus. Sorry about that. Okay, that looks better. It's, like I said, it's just a makeup brush that I had gotten from Walmart. I think there was about 8 in the package, and I got them for less than $10. They are a little flimsy, so you have to be careful, but they're good enough to do a quick and easy background. So what I grabbed is the Misty Moonlight, and all I'm going to do is get some ink on here, start off my paper, and we're going to blend the top of this. And we want the top to be a little darker than the rest, so we're just going to make sure we get a nice layer. You don't want to press too hard. Nice and easy. Get this corner here so it matches the other. And like I said, we're just going to layer this on, work the color, because we want the top to be a little darker than the rest. I'm going to come on this side, make sure the edges have some nice darkness, and we're just going to bring this down. And as we bring it down, the color is getting a little lighter. We don't want the center to be so dark that it takes away from the sentiment, but we just want to get this blended really nicely. Get this side here. We'll just do the center here, come down a little bit, just so it has a little bit of color, but it's lighter than the whole rest of the card. Just like that. And you can make it as dark or as light as you want. That looks good. And we're just going to close that up so I don't put my hands in it. And then we're going to just grab the Magenta Madness, and we're going to do the same thing. Now this one, the color is, as you can see, it comes off really heavy. So we're going to just add a bit of color very gently to the bottom of this card. just like that, just to give it a little color, and it ties the background to the flowers. Let me just grab the sentiment, "You're so special." Make sure this goes on straight. Grab the Misty Moonlight again. And we're going to stand up so I can see that I'm getting it straight. And we're going to put this right in the center of the card. Just like that. Then I'm going to grab the old olive. And this is for the sprigs. And I'm going to do this a little different this time. I wasn't really that happy with how the sprigs looked. So we're going to, the top, we're going to do full strength. And where we're going to have a flower in the center, I am going to take the tail ends of these sprigs and tuck it so it'll be covered by the flower. So we're just going to stamp this right here on this side. And then we're going to do it again on this side. Just like that. Now for the bottom, we're going to stamp off. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have these two flowers on the bottom. So we're going to stamp a sprig here. Stamp off again. Do that again. And then over here. And there's our bottom sprigs. So that is actually the base of the card. And then what I did, like I said, we're going to turn this over so it's a little cleaner. I did stamp the flowers in basic gray. And I am going to grab my blends, light and dark, Magenta Madness. And then I am going to grab, I don't want the petal pink. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see this color. Nope, that's too... we're going to grab the lovely lipstick. Let's see how that looks good. It's almost the same color. Just a little duller. And how I start to color is we're going to grab the darkest marker. I'm just going to move these out of the way. And every place that you have the darkness on your stamp, that's where I'm going to add the darkest colors. And I'm just going to work on this quickly so I don't keep you too long. But anywhere that there's going to be a shadow, that's where your darkest color is going to go. And then I like to go up the lines a little bit. Right here is going to be very dark. And if you notice, I like using the nib side because you can control the color a little bit more and it doesn't bleed as much. The other side has a tendency to be very juicy and it bleeds. So we're just going around really quickly, adding some color. Add some color here. We've got some darkness down here. This is where the petals overlap. And the petal overlaps here. So we're doing this on the same line as if you were going to color with Copics. It's just that I'm doing it a little quicker. When I did the other flowers, I did take my time, and I was able to really focus on making sure I hit the lines. Okay, so that's all your darkness. Now we're going to go back with the lighter Magenta Madness. Well, let me just hit this one here. Forgot this one petal here, and we want to make sure that's a little darker because that's where the center of the flower is, but we're going to work on that too. So this is the light. Now we're going to just go over the dark a little bit and then just extend that color just a tad. Same thing here. You don't want to go to the edge. We're going to go around this flower just like that. Same thing here. Just extend that color. You're going to go over your original and extend that color out. It'll help it blend together a little easier. Don't be too concerned about seeing the line difference right now, because as it dries, that's why we're going over it all. As it dries, you just let that alcohol do its magic. You don't want to overwork it right now. You just want to get the color on the page. We're just going to go around here. Just get that color on the page. Just going to extend that, and then we'll extend this. Okay, now that I have these two colors, I'm going to grab the lovely lipstick, and we're going to go over the whole thing. Fill in all these petals. Don't overwork it, because you don't want to lose your darkness that you just put down, and that sometimes can happen. So we're just going to fill in all these white spots, and again, we're going to instead of overworking it, we're just going to let the blends and the alcohol work its magic as it dries. And that's exactly what will happen. So we're just going to hit this last petals. You don't have to press heavy. You can use a lighter hand. And there's your flower. So now for the center, I've been using the dark soft suede and the light soft suede. Let me see if this is it. Yep. And taking it and filling in the center with the soft suede, because it's a little on the brownish side. You'll catch the darkness from the basic gray, just like that. And then I take the darker one and just hit some dots along the edge, because it's darker, because there's the shadow. You want it to look like it is not flat. So we're going to go around these edges, and then we're going to add some dots all over with the dark soft suede, and put those dots close, And then in the center, put a few dots, but make them a little further away. And then what I did is took a regular marker, and this is a darker brown, add some darker little dots, just so it looks like I said, that it is not flat but rounded. So you're going to put more dots along the edge, fewer dots in the center. And then if you have a gel pen, just stick a few white dots in there. This way those little areas are where the sun would hit a little bit brighter. Then I did it in Misty Moonlight Dark, Misty Moonlight Light, excuse me, and we're not going to use light native navy. Is that the one I want? I don't know, too dark. We're going to use the Dark Seaside Spray. And we're going to do the same thing. All these dark spots. And again, I'm using the nib side. It has less, it bleeds less. You can control your color a little better. And we're just going to make sure we hit all these dark spots. And then this way it just looks, instead of it looking flat, you can compare the two. The color just helps it, give it a little bit of dimension. I mean, you could even take your flower and give it some dimension just by curling the edges if you wanted. I like coloring though. And as you use your blends, it'll get just a little bit easier for you. And like I said, when you do use the blends and you have the big difference in the colors where you can see a line, don't really worry about that too much. If you put an overlayer color on, it does take away some of those lines, because the alcohol, the darker colors in the alcohol get lightened by the lighter colors because there's more alcohol in the markers. So it has a tendency to lighten up even those dark colors. So we're just going to add this color. This little flower's turning. And then this last one here, I don't know if you can hear the TV. My husband's watching the race from the weekend. Okay, here's the light. Now we're just going to go over it again. Just extend these lines. Did I grab the right one? Yep. Go around this flower. Leave a little on the edge. Just going to quick. Don't want to work the color too much. But you want to add, get that color down. If you notice, I turn my image as I'm coloring. It's just a habit so I can see the lines better. Hit the bottom of this flower. Get this one. And then one more here. Extend that color out. And then I'm grabbing the dark seaside spray. We're going to use the brush nib, and we're going to go over the whole entire thing, giving it a good wash of color. The blues don't blend as well as the pink. But we're going to go over this really well. The Misty Moonlight's a darker color, so, but as this dries, you'll notice that it will, what is this one? This is the Light Night of Navy. Let me just, nope, that's too dark. This is Balmy Blue. Let me see what this one looks like. Yeah, let's go over it again with this. It'll just lighten that up. Give it another layer of color. Now for the last one, I did in So Saffron. Now if you wanted to, and you'll see this, I believe, on tomorrow's card that I post, if you wanted to make it easier to blend, I could have stamped this flower in the misty, in the Magenta Madness, and I would have had my dark layers already there, and then just used my medium and my light. Same with this one. I could have stamped this in the Misty Moonlight, and then I would have already had my dark color down. So I'm doing the same thing, soft suede. And then the dark around the edges. Making sure your dots are close together on the edges, because that's where your darkest shadow is. And then the dots to the edge close together, and then spread them out in the middle. Did I put my marker back? Yes, I did. And again, the darker marker, very tiny nib on this marker. We're just going to add some little dots just to give it a little bit of contrast. Grab the white pen, add a few dots in the center. Now, you can also, if you wanted, all the spots that are highest, you can add some white gel pen to make it look like the sun is hitting it just a little bit more in those areas. You would get on the tips Because usually when you add light, you want to add dark. Give you more contrast. Okay. So there's flower number 2. Let me just grab my So Saffron. Now I know this is going to be a little crazy for you, but these two colors are just so light when you want to color, and I just didn't want it to look too washed out and not have too much contrast. So I actually took Highland Heather, and all these dark spots, I'm just adding some Highland Heather. It's just so it looks a little bit darker and gives it a little bit more of a shadow. And I'm not going to add too much because you can overdo it with the yellows. And this color, because like I said, where it's such a light color, it doesn't really cover that well. But all these dark spots, you want them to be nice and deep. So that's the Highland Heather. And then we're just going to grab the dark So Saffron, and we're going to go over that purple and then extend it out. Over that purple and extend it out. And this one you can see I'm doing a little different because, like I said, it's such a light color. We just want to add our dark and let the lines of the image for this one carry it. I could have, in some of my other images, I'll even pull out my colored pencils to add more depth. For this one, you would use a lavender, nothing too purple, but more of a lavender. And then for these two, I think I actually have my pencil here. I use indigo blue as my shadow. Now we're going to take the So Saffron Light, and we're going to color this all up. Just a quick wash, because we don't want to take away that darkness. Okay. We'll add a little bit of the white to this. It's funny because every once in a while it doesn't work. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing with the inside. Color this in real quick. You color it and you can see that the spots that didn't get any of the basic gray shines through a little brighter. This is the dark. We're just going to add some dots to the end, a few in the center. Grab the brown marker, add some dots to the edge. Put some dots in the center. And the gel pen, add a few white dots. And there's our flowers. So let's put this card together, and then we'll head into the center. Okay, here's the new Stampin' Seal. So when you use it, you want to keep it at a little bit of an angle. I don't know if you can see, but you're going to keep it at a little bit of an angle and lift it back so it cuts off on a straight line. So we're going to put this first layer down. Let me get rid of my blends here. Just stick them in this drawer. I'm waiting on my blends storage so I can fix them up. Okay, and then this layer the same. We're just going to put this down first. Backwards. Backwards. This is going to be the front of the card. Line it up nicely. Okay, let's grab some dimensionals. And we're going to put the pink one up on the top. So we're just going to add some dimensionals here. And add this flower on the top. And then we'll add the yellow. Yeah, I think I like the way I did the sprigs. I don't know what I was thinking when I did it the first time. And we're going to add this one here. Now the blue flower, we're just going to put a dimensional here. Add a little Stampin' Seal here. And then add this flower. Grab our pearls. And I just added 3. Just any place on the card. I like to do odd numbers because it's more eye-catching and not so uniform. Okay, so for the center, this one, I think I have to glue this down. We're going to grab this flower stamp again. This one I actually did stamp in magenta. So we're going to stamp this in the corner. Give it a minute or so to dry. I'm trying to think what colors I used for this one. It wasn't that. Must have been the dark. That's light petal pink. What color is this one? That was it. No, that's not it. Well, we'll do that one. Okay, we're going to grab the light magenta because we already have our dark color here. And we're just going to add just a little bit of color because we're not going crazy on the inside here. We just want to make it look a little like the outside, just so it matches a little bit. So we're just going to add a little bit of color. So there's a little contrast. And I don't know if this is going to be the right color that I picked, but we're going to give it a go. This is the Stampin' Up marker in Blushing Bride. And we're just going to go over the whole flower. And mine is actually running out. But I just wanted this flower to have a little contrast, look a little different from the ones that are on the outside, but still try to stick with the magenta, the base of the card. Okay. Guess I'm going to have to get new ones of these. Okay, so that's all colored. Take this stamp off because now I got to grab my sprigs again and the old olive, which I put right here. I think on this card I think I used the Pear Pizzazz. I'm using old olive on this one. Now what I did was I made a mask. I actually have a roll of masking tape or masking paper, and I stamped the image on the paper, fussy cut it out so I can take it and lay it over top of the image so we don't stamp on it. Make sure it's down. Grab the sprig stamp, and we're going to stamp off so the color is not so bold. And we're just going to stamp this. Just like that. Let it dry for a second. Pull that off, and it doesn't ruin your flower. Get this out of the way. And we're just going to run our tape add it to our layer, and then one more time. And add it to the inside of our card. And there you go. Quick and easy. Nice blending technique. Gives you a nice background. And then you have two beautiful cards that you can send to your friends. I hope you liked it. Thanks for joining. Thanks for taking a look. And I'll see you Friday night. Have a good day. Bye-bye now.